difficulties. For the same reason, financial problems, the company changed ownership again in 1998. This time, Audi AG became the new owner. The new owner again had a major influence on the design of the supercars produced, today's Lamborghini Murcielago. Hi friends, all the coolest and legendary abandoned Audi cars are waiting for us in this episode, starting from the Audi A30 to the Audi 4004 Turbo, A6, Audi TT, A7, 100 Quattro and A4. The history of the brand goes back to the early days of the automotive industry. In 1899, the brilliant German engineer August Horch founded his first automobile plant and laid the foundation for the future concern. However, 10 years later, due to the disagreement with partners, he had to leave the board of the firm under his own name, having borrowed from friends and business partners a huge at the time amount of 200,000 marks, which he needed for a new enterprise. Horch, whose surname means listen in translation, hardly thought about the possible name of his new company. Once, a schoolboy, the son of one of the engineer's friends, who was just studying Latin, was saying the verb audiare, to listen, in different ways. The name of the new company, which has become synonymous with the word Horch, was coined Audi, listen. In the next 2 decades, the newborn brand managed to win the recognition of buyers. Audi models won prestigious sports competitions, they were driven by many famous people of the time, and the luxury Audi Type R, which debuted in 1928, from a technical point of view, embodied the highest level of achievements in the automotive industry of that time. An 8-cylinder engine with a capacity of 100 horsepower accelerated the cabriolet to a fantastic speed of 110 km per hour. This history of the now familiar 4 rings began in 1932 when 4 Saxon car manufacturers, Audi, DKW, Horch and Wanderer, merged to form Auto Union AG. In pre-war Germany, it was the second largest and is considered the predecessor of the current concern Audi AG. In the 7 pre-war years, Auto Union made a rapid leap forward in all directions. The Horch brand produced the world's best luxury cabriolets and limousines. Wanderer made the most beautiful roadster of its time, the W25K. DKW cars were the first among German vehicles to successfully pass the crash tests. In Audi models, the middle class has established itself as front-wheel drive. Also, nobody could do the same as the Audi Union sports cars and the drivers in the Grand Prix races. In 1938, the company's working capital grows to a record amount of 238 million marks at the time. The factories employ almost 23,000 workers, and the market share is 23.4%. After 1945 and until the mid-60s, the brands of the once strongest concern in Germany, the Auto Union concern, are going through a very difficult period of disintegration, changing owners and moving from one city to another. In 1966, the Volkswagen concern becomes the owner of 100% of the Auto Union shares, and already under the wing of the concern. 2 years later, the latest development of the brand's engineers, the Audi 100 model, rolled off the assembly line of the plant in Ingolstadt, Bavaria. It allowed the concern to make a real breakthrough in the middle-class car segment. The subsequent model Audi 50, Audi 80 and Audi 100 solidified the success that was a triumph with the debut of the Audi Quattro in 1980. Since 1982, when Audi vehicles entered the World Rally Championship, they have been not equaled in many other sports. The segment of the all-wheel drive Audi Quattro models has been growing and expanding ever since. In 1994, the first aluminium executive sedan, the Audi A8, entered the market. In the same year, the Audi A6 business class sedan and station wagon, which later became a bestseller, and the incredibly successful Audi A4 appeared in the model line. In the following years, not only the model range but also the production volumes grew rapidly. In 1998, the Audi AG concern becomes the owner of the Italian supercar brand Lamborghini. Thanks to the efforts of German partners using the latest technological developments and financial capabilities of Audi, the affixed Italian brand gets a second wind. The same can be said for Ducati motorcycles. This Italian company was bought by Audi AG in 2012, and since then its lineup has been constantly expanding and updating. 2016 is important for the brand with the opening of the first production on the American continent. The newest plant in the city of San Jose Chiapa, Puebla State, Mexico, is designed to produce 150,000 vehicles per year. The first model to hit the assembly line was the second-generation Audi Q5 crossover, which debuted at the Paris Motor Show in 2016 fall. Currently, the concern employs over 85,000 people. Automobiles and motorcycles are officially represented in more than 100 markets, and Audi's 17th production sites are located in 13 countries around the world. The focus of the Audi Group is on development of new models and environmental technologies for the future. Power and quality, the demand made by the founder of the brand, August Horch, are now reflected in every Audi car. Hi friends! In our new episode, we will talk about the legendary Land Rover SUV. We have collected for you a huge selection of abandoned SUVs around the world. Land Rover, a subsidiary of the English company Rover Group, bought in 1994 by the German concern BMW, produces off-road vehicles of the famous Land Rover brand. The headquarters are still located in Solihull near Birmingham. After World War II, a subsidiary of the British company Rover, the Land Rover Group became the first firm to take a position in a growing market of off-road vehicles. The first Land Rover entered post-war Britain in 1948, during a time of severe steel shortages. It was as ingeniously simple, brilliant workhorse made of aluminium. Brothers Spencer and Maurice Wilkes, who worked for the British car maker Rover, created a new symbolic car that combined pragmatic simplicity and rugged reliability. The car was an instant success, with the result that by the mid-50s of the last century, the Land Rover brand had already become clearly associated with the concept of durability and phenomenal off-road qualities. Military and agriculture workers, as well as emergency and recovery workers, have found in Land Rover exactly the qualities they needed in a car. By 1959, with the 250,000th Land Rover leaving the Solihull plant in West Midlands, the foundation for future market dominance was fully laid. The famous Defender, a long wheelbase model of Land Rover, conceived as a versatile, reliable car for the post-war period, has been produced almost unchanged for 50 years now, and its appearance resembles the same post-war model. The model is still considered the best all-wheel drive SUV. The 1960s saw a significant increase in demand for 4WD vehicles, and Land Rover was at the forefront of an emerging new market segment. In an effort to find the best solution to the challenge, Rover engineers set out to design a vehicle that would combine the comfort and drivability of a family car with the off-road capabilities of Land Rover. The result of the work was the Range Rover, launched in 1970 and instantly aroused general stormy admiration. The famous design of this model has reached a unique level of recognition when it was exhibited at the Louvre Gallery in Paris. However, the car's merits went far beyond comfort and good looks by retaining their unique off-road driving qualities. Throughout the 1970s and 80s, Land Rover and Range Rover continued to evolve, and recognition for Land Rover vehicles grew with events such as Paris-Dakar Rally, which demonstrated the brand's outstanding resilience. The Land Rover range includes two more models. The Discovery was first shown at the 1989 Frankfurt Motor Show, marking the creation of a new niche for the 44 family car. In 1997, it was followed by the Freelander, a more compact vehicle with a focus on sports and recreation, and taking the lead in Europe in terms of sales in the 44 class. In 1994, the BMW concern acquired the English company Rover Group and its subsidiary Land Rover, which has always specialized in SUVs. Currently, the prestige of the department is still very high. The famous Range Rover model is beyond its competition and is the universally recognized benchmark for the luxury all-terrain vehicles. In 1994, it was updated for the last time. It is offered with three types of engine: V-shape, 8-cylinder with a volume of 4 or 4.6 litres with a capacity of 190 or 224 horsepower, as well as turbocharged diesel BMW with a volume of 2.5 litres and an output of 136 horsepower. A compact Land Rover Freelander is available for middle-class buyers. This model has independent suspension of all wheels and the transverse engine arrangement. It has 4-cylinder petrol and diesel engines with a working volume of 1.82 litres. Discovery and Defender continue to be produced unchanged. The last, the workhorse of all other models, the most practical and reliable, although not very comfortable, is offered with an aluminium station wagon. In the UK, Defender is sold in 3 base versions: 90, 110 and 130. They are equipped with a turbocharged diesel engine and petrol V-shape 8-cylinder engine with a working volume of 2.5 and 4 litres. These vehicles are very popular with farmers and are used by police and as fire trucks. Hi friends, in this episode we have abandoned luxury cars and the Bentley brand. In this episode you will see MK6 Bentley, 1955 Bentley S1, Bentley S3, 1961 Bentley S2, Bentley Continental, Bentley Arnage. Now a bit of history of the Bentley company. Bentley Motors Ltd is a British automobile company specializing in the production of luxury cars. Since 1998, it has been part of the German Volkswagen Group. The history of the British auto manufacturer Bentley began on July 10, 1919, when Walter Owen Bentley, together with Frank Burgess and Harry Varley, developed the first car. In 1922, the Bentley cars won the team prize in the Tourist Trophy, and a year later, one of the representatives of this glorious series came to finish line fourth at Le Mans. In late 1930, Bentley released its most prestigious model, the 8L. It became the swan song of the firm as an independent company. 2011 was a successful year for the company. The previous two were unprofitable. In the spring of 2012, the Bentley EXP 9F SUV concept was unveiled at the Geneva Motor Show. On July 23, 2013, Bentley officially confirmed that the SUV will be built in Crewe, England, and sale will start in 2016. The official name for the first productive SUV is the Bentley Bentayga. Estimated cost over 200,000 euros. Some cars can cost up to 600,000 euros. For example, one of the options is a watch, Breitling Tourbillon, in the showroom. The quota of 3,600 vehicles for 2016 was fully sold out in mid-2015. The first 500 vehicles were designed first edition. Queen Elizabeth became the first owner of the first car. Bentley Dominator 1994. Special order from the Sultan of Brunei. 6 Bentley trucks were produced. The cost of each is £3 million. In 2020, it was told about the Mulliner Bacalar sports car, which will be only 12 copies. The cost of each will start from £1.5 million. On November 5, 2020, Bentley presented its development strategy for the next 10 years, which aims to reduce environmental damage by producing more technically advanced vehicles. As part of this strategy, Bentley will switch to hybrid and all-electric vehicles by 2026 and will start to produce only all-electric cars by 2030. Hi friends, this episode is about abandoned cars in the United Arab Emirates. On the streets of Dubai you can find abandoned cars under the brand names of Lamborghini, Ferrari, Maserati, Porsche and many luxury sports cars. You ask me, why is this happening? Why people abandon expensive luxury cars? I will explain to you now. The United Arab Emirates is one of the richest countries in the Middle East. Despite the recent financial crisis and falling oil prices, the country's economy remains strong. However, like any other modern countries, the UAE has its own problems, which range from the usual poverty, high cost of living, to the strange and unusual. One of the atypical problems in the UAE, especially in Dubai, is the problem of abandoned luxury cars. A familiar sight in the airport parking lot are dusty, long-abandoned sports cars. Mercedes, BMW, Ferraris and Porsches costing tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars are waiting for their owners. Why would anyone give up a perfectly good car? Why do they abandon cars in Dubai? The answer is directly related to Muslim culture. The UAE, like many Arab countries in the Middle East, abides by Sharia laws. According to Sharia law, it is a criminal offense not to pay your debts. Many people took out large loans for expensive cars when the economy was booming. If payments for a car or mortgages are late, the debtors are sent to jail. There are no other options. All of these cars gathering dust in parking lots throughout the UAE were abandoned by their owners who decided to flee the country instead of going to jail. When the police find an abandoned car, a warning is issued. If the owner does not show up within 15 days, the car will be seized. Subsequently, an auction is held where cars are sold for a fraction of the original cost. On average, police officers in Dubai find about 3,000 abandoned luxury cars each year. Hello friends, in this episode we will see abandoned luxury Aston Martin cars. The automobile company Aston Martin is a subsidiary of the concern Ford. The company is headquartered in Newport Pagnell. The history of Aston Martin began in 1914. Then the first, but not the last, sports car of its own production was presented to the world. This significant event happened in London, and two people were involved in it: Lionel Martin and Robert Bamford. Initially, cars of this brand were produced under the Bamford and Martin brand, but after Martin won the competition at Mount Aston Clinton, the company changed its name to the familiar Aston Martin. At the same time, the First World War broke out, and the mass production of cars was suspended. By the end of 1919, a new model rolled off the assembly line of the company. The company's cars are constantly involved in races. The designers have done serious work on the mistakes and gained priceless experience. However, in 1924, the company was on the verge of bankruptcy. This was due to the tragic death of Louis Sbarowski, the man who sponsored all the company's projects. The situation is saved by U.S. Renwick, who acquired Aston Martin for £6,000. The year 1936 was marked by the release of new models of the company with the improved 1.5-litre engine with a capacity of 1.5 litres and an overhead camshaft. It should be noted that in 1926, Aston Martin released the 11.9 HP model, which became a legend of the 30s of the last century. An equally memorable event was the release in 1939 of the Atom model, which became the ancestor of the popular DB series. But this triumph was also interrupted. This time it was the Second World War. After the end of the war, the company passed into the hands of David Brown, a major British industrialist. Together with Aston Martin, he buys the company Lagonda, which is engaged in the manufacture of motors. Its engines are installed on the sports Aston Martin models. In 1948, based on the Atom and Lagonda models, the production of the DB series was resumed. Sports cars